Hello, I'm Dr. Georgia Jones, Associate Professor in the Department of Nutrition and Health Sciences. I'm also Extension Food Specialist. Today, we're going to make brown sugar, butter, and pecan sweet potatoes. I know that sounds a little decadent, but we're going to cut the ingredients, but we're going to keep the flavors. These are the sweet potatoes we're going to work with. One is the typical orange variety of sweet potatoes. This is the one most Americans are familiar with. But there are several varieties of sweet potatoes on the market. One is the white variety, and this one cooks up a little bit drier than this one. They're actually very nice. They're also purple sweet potatoes. Feel free to venture out and try different colors and different flavors of sweet potatoes. The consumption rate for sweet potatoes for Americans is increasing dramatically. Americans eat about 7 pounds of sweet potatoes now per year compared to about 3.9 pounds per year a couple of years ago. 2011, it was one of the #1 foods for Americans. Sweet potatoes are actually very good for you. They're high in vitamin A or beta carotene, particularly your orange varieties. They're a good source of fiber. They're also a good source of vitamin C. And one of the best things about sweet potatoes, they're low in calories. So don't drench them up in a lot of butter and brown sugar. We're going to keep this one healthy today. We're going to go with pecans, which is a traditional southern nut. We're going to put a little bit of butter in. I like butter because it gives flavor, so hopefully we can use a little bit less but still have good flavor. And for a little extra sweetness, we're going to use a little bit of brown sugar. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and 2 tablespoons of pecans. We're also going to toast the pecans to give them a little extra flavor, and we're going to chop them up. We're going to spread them out a little bit, give us a little bit of crunch. So let's get started making our butter and brown sugar mixture. We're going to get started by chopping our pecans. That's going to be our first thing. Going to chop these. I like to chop these fairly fine. Then we're going to set them aside until we're ready to mix our butter and brown sugar. And you find in the South, pecans are used a lot in baked goods, particularly with things like sweet potatoes. So this recipe is kind of a little bit like candied yams with the addition of pecans, but not as many calories. Even though we got 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of pecans and 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, this actually serves about 4 to 6 people. So everybody's probably getting about a half a tablespoon or less of butter and brown sugar. So that's not too much. Even though we're only using butter and brown sugar and pecans, if you wanted to, you could add in a little cinnamon or a little nutmeg, even a little bit of vanilla. This is one of those recipes you can adjust to your taste. Okay, there you go. I think that's good enough. We're going to set that aside for now. And we're going to add, our butter is softened, so we're going to stir up butter. Make sure it's really soft here. Brown sugar, 2 tablespoons. We want to mix this up really, really, really good. And this is where you could add in other flavors if you wanted to, even grated orange peel. Okay, now we get to put in our pecans, so we have a little crunch. Let me stir this up. Make a very, very nice paste. There you go. It's all ready. And if you like, you can take this and you can do as I did. You can roll it up into a log and you can freeze it. So this was frozen for a while. And now you can cut off as much or as little as you want per person. And everybody can decide for themselves how many calories they want. Now we're ready to put our potatoes in the oven. So normally what I do is try and poke them a little bit, or pierce them as we like to call it. I pierce them a little bit with a fork. This is so a little bit of steam can escape. Sometimes if you want to, you can oil them a little bit. Okay, well now we're ready to put these in the oven. We're going to put them in the oven at 350 for about 1 hour. And we have some we've done earlier. These should be ready to come out. And we'll see. They're ready. Yep, it looks like they're ready to go. They should be really soft when they're ready to eat. So these are ready, and we're going to finish them up now. Then we get to eat. And I like to slice a little bit of this out. Get rid of this. And this is where we're going to put our butter. Same for this one. Pull back the skin a little bit. Normally we don't eat the skin. You can if you liked. If you prefer to. These are ready. This is our white sweet potato, and this is our traditional orange sweet potato. Now we get to add what our good stuff. And how much you want to add is really up to an individual. We're going to put a little bit here. So this one doesn't feel left out, we're going to put a little bit here. Okay. Now we mix this in. And we got it. This is it. Very good. A little bit like a candied yam, but not quite as much sugar, not quite as much fat. But if this is not to your liking, there are a couple other options we have for you. This is mashed sweet potatoes with honey and butter. Bake with the sweet potatoes, add your honey, add butter, and serve. And this one is more of a traditional candied yam type sweet potato. This one has a 1/4 cup of honey and a 1/4 cup of orange juice. No fat in this one. You cook it on low until your potatoes are done.